Hello and welcome to a short tour of the Syntalos user interface. Syntalos is a software used by researchers for time-synchronized multimodal data acquisition and closed-loop interventions. It can be used in a wide variety of scenarios. So far, it has been used particularly for neuroscientific research and behavior experiments. The Syntalos UI is split into multiple sections. The largest white one is reserved to place modules and connect them. The Modules toolbar allows you to add new modules and to modify existing modules' properties, like to enable or disable them, connect them with each other, or to display their settings dialog. The current experiment settings box allows you to set your data export path where the recorded data is stored. It also allows you to set a subject name as well as an experiment ID. On the right side, you can see the current run information panel. In this panel, Syntalos will display information about the current run, like the time, as well as any error messages or warnings that the user should be aware of. At the top, you can see different buttons to start an experiment, or to annotate a previous run, or to load and save the current project. In the top menu, you can change various additional aspects of the program. Syntalos does nothing without its modules, so let's add one by clicking the Add Module button. Syntalos has a wide variety of different modules available. Some of them interface with hardware, like cameras, while others are processing data live. A module can be anything. For demonstration purposes in this video, I am adding a development data source, which is just a small module which generates synthetic data. The module is represented by a box in the Syntalos UI. Every module has an indicator light showing the status of it, as well as a textual representation of that status. It also has ports. Ports output data if they are on the right side, and they can be used to input data if they are on the left side. This module only has outputs. A data generating module alone doesn't help us very much. We also do want to display some data. For that, we add a canvas module. In order to get data from our data generator into the canvas, we click and drag a connection between the frame output of the data generator to the input of the canvas. That way, the two modules are now connected. If you want to remove a connection, you can click on it or drag over it to select it and then click the disconnect button. To connect the two ports, you can also hold down the control key on your keyboard, click on the two ports, and then hit the connect button. You can only connect ports of the same type. The port type is indicated by its color and usually also has a descriptive text. In this case, we are connecting a frame output to a frame input, indicated by the orange color. Let's run the current experiment. The only button available to us at this current moment is the ephemeral run button, which will just start the experiment without saving any data. Syntalos alerts the user about the fact that no data is currently saved in the information panel. To actually see the video data currently being generated, we click on the Canvas module and click on Display. That way, the display window of the current module opens. Alternatively, you can also just double-click on the module, which will open the display window as well. With a click on the Stop button, we are stopping the current run. Even if we would run the current experiment with data saved, all that would be saved would be metadata. So let's add a module which will actually store the video that is being displayed on disk. For that, we add a video recorder and connect it to the same data stream that has also been sent to the canvas. It is possible to send one data stream to multiple locations. So if you have one data generator, it can be connected to as many modules as you like. However, one input port can only accept data from one module. So sending data from multiple sources into the exact same one input port is not possible. We save our current configuration using the Save menu. That way we can load our current module configuration as well as all their settings at any time. In order to actually store some data, we need to set a location where data should be exported to. To do that, we click this button and set a directory. We may then set a subject name in case we have one, or an experiment ID in case we have one. Those fields can be left blank if you do not have a subject name or if you don't want to name your experiment. If we now click the Run button instead of the ephemeral Run button, all data will be saved. If we open the location that we previously selected as data storage location in the file manager, we can see that Syntalos has created new folders for the current subject, for the experiment ID, and with the current date. Within those folders, we then find all the recorded data within an EDL directory structure. To find out more about the EDL directory structure in which Syntalos stores its data, you can consult the Syntalos documentation at syntalos.org. Most notably, Syntalos will record all the information that it has about the current experiment, like on which computer it was recorded, which modules were active, and whether there were any errors, or whether the experiment was recorded without problems. As you can see, within the videos directory, you can find the previously recorded video, accompanied by its metadata. The name of the dataset is derived currently from the name of the module that generated it. Some modules allow you to override the name of the recorded dataset in their settings. However, you can also always rename the modules themselves. To do that, select a module and then click on Modify as Rename Module, or alternatively, just right-click on the module and enter a new name. If we now run the experiment again, Syntalos will warn us that there's already an existing experiment and that it will overwrite existing data. In this case, we say yes, but if you see this message unexpectedly, then please double-check that you're not overwriting important data. Syntalos permits you to annotate recordings with user-defined comments. If anything unusual or noteworthy happened while the experiment was being run, which tends to be the norm for in vivo experiments, it's always good to make a note in the lab book. However, in order to keep these annotations together with the actual data, you can also annotate the data directly. To do that, Syntalos has an annotation feature. If you click on the Annotate button, you can either annotate the next experiment run that you are about to start, or make a note about the previous run. In this case, we just add a short note to the run that we just recorded. As you can see, the annotation shows up in clear text in the EDL metadata. You can view it with a text editor or load it with any TOML parser. For more information, you can look at the documentation at syntalos.org. For each Syntalos project, you can also set additional information that is specific to the current configuration. To do that, click on the Project Details button. For example, you can set a list of all your test subjects to easily select them later and make no typing mistakes. You can also add a list of experimenters. If a list of experimenters exists for a project file, the user will be prompted to select their name from a list initially when the project is loaded. The name of the experimenter will be recorded with the project's metadata. This makes it easy to attribute data to specific experimenters later. As you can see, now that we have added a list of test subjects, they are available for selection in the main UI. There is a few more minor useful features found in the Syntalos UI. For example, if you click on Diagnostics and on System, Syntalos will show you detailed information about the current system. It will highlight any problematic values in red and any values which might cause issues in orange. If you click on Diagnostics Module Loader, you can find information on whether there were any problems when loading modules. This is useful in case you have less modules than you think you should have, or if you can't find a specific module that you think you should have available. Under Tools, Global Settings, you can change various aspects of the Syntalos software in general, for example, its color scheme. And this concludes our quick tour of the Syntalos UI. There are many things which haven't been mentioned here, but you will discover them while using the software, and they should be rather intuitive. If you get stuck though, feel free to look at the documentation or ask the question in our GitHub discussions. Alternatively, you can also have a look at our written tutorials or at further video tutorials. Thank you very much. I hope you like using Syntalos, and good luck with your experiments.